Okay, so today we're going to talk about the number. We're going to finish off Pesach, take us about 15 minutes, and then we'll start the Omer, which we'll take into the next class. Good morning, Raquel. So let's talk about the number. We looked about the number 1, we did the number 3, we did the number 4, we did the number 10. Now we're going to do a number you don't hear too much about, which is the number 15. Number 15.
Wait, Rabbi, what page are we on?
On page 84. What does the number 15 represent? What does number 15 represent? Anyone knows? So this is difficult. You don't hear this too much. I want a. It's going to be a physical item as well as an idea, but the two are connected, obviously. So there were 15 steps. 15 steps into the Beis HaMikdash. And 15 Leviim would stand on these 15 steps and play musical instruments as people entered into the Beit HaMikdash, into the temple. And they would sing 15 songs called the Shir HaMa'alot, the songs of, what's Ma'alot? To go up. Right. 15 Shir HaMa'alot. And if you look in Tehillim, Psalms, you see there's 15 Psalms that are grouped together, which are called the Shir HaMa'alot Psalms. The Shir HaMa'alot. Ma'alot means to go up. What other 15s do we have? Hashem's name, one of Hashem's name is Yud with a Hey, right? Yud, which is 10, and the Hey. Now that's only half of Hashem's full name, which is the Yud with a Hey, with a Vav, with the Hey. Nachon? Right, you know what I'm talking about? So this is half of that name. It's also a name of Hashem, by the way. You can actually say it's also one of Hashem's name, as referred to in the Torah in some places. Specifically, we're referring, interestingly, to Amalek. And it says Hashem's name will not be completed. And it says this name is not complete until Amalek are wiped off the face of the earth. So the Yud with the letter Hey is one of Hashem's name, but it's also half of the full name, and it's used in reference specifically to Amalek, to this nation of Amalek. And it says this name of Hashem will become complete when Mashiach comes and Amalek are wiped away. I'll give you another one. This is a bit tricky, this one. But after we finish the Shema of Shacharit, and before you get to the Amidah, there are 15 words. And each one begins with a Vav. And according to Kabbalah, you'll see many of the Siddurim will say, you should enunciate each one of these Vavs very specifically. Okay? So there are 15 Vavs that take you from the Shema to the Amidah. From the Shema to the Amidah. There's 15 Vavs. 15 letter Vavs. You look, and it goes on and on and on. And there's 15 of these Vavs. What does the letter Vav actually mean? And, right? The letter Vav, the word Vav means a hook. The word Vav, Vav, means a hook. Right? Because what's the word Av means and? It's hooking together that which comes before and comes afterwards. Are you with me? What does Vav do? We don't have a word and, you have the letter Vav, and that connects. So the letter Vav connects. So the Shema through to the Amidah is connected by the letter Vav. We're connecting them together. Okay, it's the kesher, it's the tie, it's the hook. That's where the word Vav literally means a hook. Vav, Vav, a hook. And the letter Vav is and. And what does and do? It connects together two ideas. Fine, I'm sure there's many more, which I'm not aware of.
A Seder.
the Pesach Seder. The Pesach Seder has 15 steps. God bless you. There's 15 steps in the Pesach Seder. Now, all of these must have something in common because they all are connected by the number 15. So what do you think over here could be connecting all these things together? Number 15, which is a good number. Number 15, good number. Good number. What connects all these things together, do you think? We have the steps, the Beit HaMikdash. The Levim would play music into the temple. They would stand on these 15 steps and they would sing 15 songs, the 15 Shir HaMalot that appear in Tehillim. Hashem's name is only half, Yud with a Hey, Hashem's name, but only half Hashem's full name. 15 Vavs between the Shema and the Amidah, and 15 steps on the Pesach Seder. What do you think 15 there for represents? What is this number telling us? Wow. I've never such silence in my classroom. Except when I walk in, everyone's on their phones and no one talks to each other. Yes, Kayla, what do you think?
It's like they're all transitioning to something.
Very nice. Very, very nice. They're transitioning. That's good. A good word. They're the transition.
The number transition?
Yeah. They're transitioning. You would go from outside the Beit HaMikdash into the Beit with 15 steps. The Levim would play the music to transition you from one to the other. These are 15 Levim who would stand on these steps. 15 songs of Shir HaMa'alot, songs of elevation to go up. Hashem's name is not complete. Hashem's name is not complete. These 15 vavs transition you from the Shema into the Amidah, very important part of the Tefillah. And there's 15 steps to the Pesach Seder, which means they're a journey. They're not the destination. 15 represents the idea of movement, taking you somewhere. Okay, it's transition, it's movement. Right? It's not the destination itself, it's the way to it. The Yud Hey is halfway there, Hashem's name. We haven't finished it off. That's still a Vav and a Hey to get you there, right? So it's the movement to a final destination. They're not the thing itself. They're what takes you to where you want to go. That seemingly, from my readings, have been what the number 15 represents. So let's plug that into our Pesach Seder, and we see there's 15 steps to the Seder, which means you need all 15 to get you to your destination, meaning the end of the Seder. People who stop halfway through at Shulchan Aruch, unfortunately, are missing the point. There's a final destination. So let's work through these 15 steps. You mentioned many of them already. Let's just mention them and just run through them together, because each one of these 15 steps, you can't skip a step. Each one is a necessary component to get you to the end. Okay? So let's know them and let's memorize them. Number 1, Kadesh. Kadesh you already mentioned, yeah? 84.
I have a question
yes.
about the vabs. There's 15 vabs between Shema, Shemona, and Esrei.
There are 15 words right after the Shema, and each one of those 15 words has a vav at the beginning of it. And according to the rabbis, you should enunciate these vavs, ve'emet, ve'ativ, ve'nachon, v'kiyam, and you should say them loud. You should enunciate them. So it's interesting why these 15, and many Sidurim will actually enlarge the vavs. They're actually larger vavs than appear normally. So why there's vavs? So he said the word vav means to connect. So there's 15 of these connecting vavs that take you from the Shema, out of the Shema, into the Amidah. That's what we're saying. So now we're saying with the 15 parts to say, which means you can't skip a step. Each one of these steps is important to get you somewhere. They're getting you to a destination. They may not be the thing itself. Let's run through them. First one we said is Kadesh. Okay, Kadesh we said is the first of the Arba Kosot, right? It's the foundation, and the word Kadesh we said literally means to set apart, right? Kadesh is to set apart, be distinct. That's what Kadosh actually means. So this first cup is setting you apart from everything else. That's when it all starts. Shabbat begins, Kiddush. A marrying happens, make a bracha on a Kadesh, on a bracha. Comes along a new baby into the world, we make a bracha, right, over wine, Kiddush. Here too, the wine is coming along and it's transitioning us, the beginning of the transition. Then we do Orchatz, we pour the water over the hands, and we make a hadama on a small piece of root vegetables. Some do celery, right, which actually is probably the right thing to do. Celery in Persian is karafs, karpas, same word, right? We discussed that already. But some people use potato or any root vegetable, and it basically comes down to remind us of the beginning of the exile, because Yosef was sold with his ketonet, pasim was taken off him. That's the hint over there. So the orchatz is the washing without a bracha, which is unusual. Have the kids wondering already. Karpas is this small vegetable we dip in salt water to remember the tears of the Bnei Yisrael in Mitzrayim. So we start with tears. That's important, right? What is the expression of David HaMelech? Hazorim bedima, berina yiktsoru. If you plant seeds while crying, start with crying, end with rejoicing. That's the system that we're working. We're beginning the Seder with tears. That's the salt water that we put down. And by the end, we are singing. Nachon?
Wait, the karpas we put in what?
No, not the karpas. Yes, the karpas. Yeah, the karpas we dip in salt water.
So urchatz is just
The washing part, just the washing. Right, which she said is an important thing to get the kids, we said last class, to have the kids asking questions. Right, we do it unusually. Then we have yachatz. We take the middle matzah and we break it into two parts. One reason is we never usually do break chalot or matzot. Here we do, so it's also made the kids ask questions. And the bigger piece is made into the afikomen. Then we do the magid. We spoke about the higarta levincha, the great mitzvah, doraita.
What's the point of yachatz?
You're going a little bit quickly.
Yeah, wait. What's the point of yachatz?
Yachatz, I said, was to, first of all, to do something unusual for the children, right? A lot of what we do is unusual for the children, to make them ask questions. What are we breaking a matzah? We say, oh, this matzah represents the Jewish people. Servitude and everything else, whatever your kid, however your kid understands it, you explain it to them. This is the bread of our affliction, right? The Jewish people ate while they were in Mitzrayim and eventually took with them on their backs. You get a discussion out of it. Mm-hmm.
Do you know if there's a difference between Ashkenazim and Sephardim for the Afikomen?
There is slight difference in the shape you break it into, but the essence is still the same. It's broken up, and the larger piece is put aside for the afikomen. It's the only difference I know. Anyone have any differences when they break the afikomen? That's all I've heard. Okay. That's the middle matzah of the three matzot, which is broken, and the larger piece is hidden away. Okay, for the afikomen, and that's also to keep the kids interested because they're going to be looking for that later on. Then we have magid. Magid is the Haggadah. To read the story, as we said, that's a Torah mitzvah and is the longest and most important part of the Seder because it is a Torah mitzvah. Okay? At the conclusion, we make a bracha and drink the fourth of the 4 cups of wine. There is one difference between Ashkenazim and Sephardim at this point, and that is Ashkenazim will make 4 brachot on each of the 4 cups of wine, or borei pri hagefan on each one. Sephardim make a bracha on the first, which lasts for the second, and the third, which lasts for the fourth.
Wait. Again?
The Ashkenazim will make a borei pri hagefan on each one of the 4 cups. Sephardim make a bracha on the first cup and the third cup. Why? Because the first 2 cups are said before Birkat HaMazon, and therefore the bracha on the first cup is going to cover the second cup. You only make 1 bracha. Then we see Birkat HaMazon, and then you've got to make a new bracha because that Birkat HaMazon closed off the first 2 cups. But the third bracha, the third cup of wine we made Hagefan on, is going to apply for the fourth, and that's that. So that's one difference between Ashkenazim and Sephardim.
Birkat HaMazon and
It's very simple. Ashkenazim make 4 Borei Pri Hagefans, Sephardim make 2.
But don't Birkat HaMazon and Borei Pri Hagefan have nothing to do with each other?
But Birkat HaMazon, you're right, Birkat HaMazon is going to cut it off. Still acts as an ending. That's why when you make Kiddush on Shabbat, you drink the entire cup, even if you do. You don't make an ala gefen. Birkat HaMazon is going to cover that drinking of the wine.
What is the first cup? What is
Wait a second, you got that, Shani?
Let's say like I was having a meal. Let's say I was having a meal and I washed for bread.
Great.
And
Then
then
you will have to make a Borei Pri Hagefan. It won't help with the bracha Rishonah, but Birkat HaMazon will help with the bracha Acharona, with your second bracha. Yeah? Very simple. Sephardim make a bracha on the first cup and the third cup. That's all. And Ashkenazim will make a bracha b'ripei gefen on each of the 4 cups of wine. This is one difference you see between the Ashkenazim and the Sephardim. And if you're Ashkefadi, like my children, what can I say? You're confused. I don't know what to say. Okay. Next we wash. That's rachza. Rachza, which is to wash. This is a proper washing over lechem mishnah, over the 2 remaining matzot, and the middle matzah, which is actually already broken in half. And you wash your hands and you eat it. Then you have the su'udah, the meal itself. You wash, regular washing with a bracha on Netilat Yadayim. And then you get to motzi. You make the bracha and you eat the matzah. And you eat the matzah, we said, leaning to your left. Okay?
I have a question.
Yeah.
For Rachza, when you're making the blessing over the matzah, if you don't have your own Seder plate, can you do it on any matzah, or it has to be on the matzah?
It's going to be
of like the head of your.
Just like on Shabbat, one person holds 2 chalot and has you in mind. Same thing over here.
Okay.
He takes
So
2
then-
matzot
so then how
and
come
has
for
you
the
in mind.
cups of wine, it doesn't work the same.
Very good, because each person had their own gula. That's very good. That's very good. Good point. Right? Usually 1 cup of wine, person drinks from it, and that's it. Other people, if they want to, they can drink grape juice or wine. If not, they don't have to. And they ought to here. Here, since every Jew was redeemed, every Jew must drink a full cup of wine, of red wine specifically, on the Pesach Seder. Okay? Good point. Well done. Yes? Well, what?
Why do we lean to our left?
We lean to our left because we are free people. We lean to the left to go to the right because we don't want to choke. That's why the left is chosen over the right. That's a. But you lean because you're free. Free,
Wait, after
free,
we say
free.
after we say the motzi, we eat the matzah or the meal.
You eat the matzah, and after the matzah, you have the meal. But the matzah really has to be the main part of your meal. Meaning you have to make sure you eat enough of it to fulfill the mitzvah, and then you can have whatever you want after that. But remember, you still have some more matzah eating to be had at the end. So you have your matzah, then you have maror, bitter herbs, customarily romaine lettuce or horseradish, we said, and that recalls the bitterness of the Egyptian exile. That's maror, maror from the word mar, bitter. Then we have korech. Korech is the sandwich. The sandwich, and we slop on the delicious charoset, which we did not mention yet actually. Charoset. What is charoset? What does it come for? To remember the mortar is one thing that they used to make the bricks from. That's one reason we have charoset. Why else? Because Abba loves it. Where else we have charoset at the Pesach Seder table? What's one of the ingredients of charoset? Wine. So the wine is introduced into that as well. Temarim, we have dates inside there as well. And we have apples. Apples. Apples usually crushed inside, right?
Well,
But
what
apples inside there.
What is it?
It's not. It's not. It's not. It's not. It's not. It's not really one of the 15 steps, but it's. We'll see. It's going to be on the Pesach Seder, the ka'ara. It's going to be on the Pesach Seder plate, on your table. Why apples? Because the Jewish people are compared to a tapuach b'ya'ar, the apple in the forest. We'll talk more about that when we get to Shavuot, interestingly, because apples and apple trees are going to have more significance there. But we mention it. It is actually under the apple trees that the Jewish people would go, and the women would wait for their husbands. When the husbands would not want to have children, they thought backbreaking work. The Jewish women continued the Jewish people, and they say that happened in the orchards. And the apples represent Jewish continuity. Apples represent Jewish. Actually, the Jewish people are compared to apples. Okay, so there's apples that are present as well. Anyone here seen apples at a Brit Milah? Meant to have a custom to introduce apples and have a right. The Persians do. They put apples at Brit Milah. It's related to this as well. It's related to this as well. Yeah.
But where in the center we apples?
Iwa? No. It's put into the charoset.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Mine is made with dates.
Date palms. That's also put there. Yeah. There's also they put dates and date palms or date paste, and apples as well as inside them.
Oh well, I don't know.
Okay, so then we take the korech, We eat the sandwich because we want to mix the matzah umororim. We want to mix, we know the matzah and maror connected. So you make what's called Hillel sandwich, and you connect them together, and you wrap them up, and you crunch through them while you eat. Okay? That's the korech, for lechroch, to wrap up. The korech means to wrap, to roll and wrap up. Then we have shulchan orech, that's the meal itself that follows that. At the end of the meal, we take the tzafun. Tzafun, it's an interesting word, this one. Tzafun, anyone know what the word tzafun actually means?
Yeah, it's I know what it is, but it's a food. It's like encrypted, but
Hidden, yes. Means hidden, very good. Encrypted, hidden, I like that. Right, hidden. So it's at this point that we eat the afikomen. The word afikomen, I believe, comes from the Greek epikumen, which means dessert. The afikomen is going to be the last thing you eat at the Pesach Seder, besides the 2 more cups of wine you're going to have. But since the afikomen takes the place of the Korban Pesach, you should not, the mitzvah was to have the taste of the Korban Pesach on your mouth all night. You cannot eat anything after this. So any dessert should be eaten. The afikomen, referred to as safan, I'll tell you in a second, should be the last thing that is eaten. Why is it called safun? Because it refers to Olam Haba, the future world, which is why it's the larger piece, because the larger chelik, larger portion is for the future. Okay? So afikomen is the last thing we eat to represent the Korban Pesach, which was the last thing that was eaten, and you have to have this taste on your mouth all night, as in right through to the morning. So the last thing you eat, you can drink water afterwards, but that's it. Should be the 2 cups of wine and chalas, yeah.
Can you say what safun is again?
Safun means hidden.
Yeah.
It means hidden. Why is it called hidden? Because the afikomen represents Olam Haba, and that is the future world that is hidden from us right now. Is the future world that is hidden from us right now. Okay? So the afikomen also comes to represent the Korban Pesach, the Korban Pesach, which we don't have nowadays, so that comes to represent that. Oh, we did leave something out, which is on the Pesach Seder table, and that is the Beitzah, the egg, and there is a tradition to eat an egg as well at the Pesach Seder table. Why do we eat a Beitzah? Why do we eat an egg as well? This is before the afikomen. The afikomen is the last thing you can eat. So the egg comes right before that. So there's
After
2.
Shulchan Aruch or before the egg?
This is the end of the meal, before Birchat HaMazon, right? Because you're eating hamotzi, this is also bread. So right after this hamotzi lechem, you say Birchat HaMazon. When you're going to finish off the Haggadah, and then you'll get to this point. It's the last thing you eat. Now, before you have afikomen, you actually eat an egg. And there's an egg on the Seder plate. Why? So there was another, 2 reasons. One reason is there was another korban called the Korban Chagiga. The korban, the sacrifice of the Chagiga, the festival sacrifice. We don't have this nowadays, so we eat an egg, a cooked item, as a representation of that. But when else, that's one reason, the Korban Chagiga. But when else do we eat an egg? When is there a tradition, a custom to eat an egg? Tisha B'Av, yeah. And Chas v'Chalila during Avelut, during morning. So we bring a little, right? Because why does an egg represent morning? Not M-O-R-N-I-N-G, M-O-U-R-N-I-N-G, Avelut. Why does it represent that? Because it is round, so it represents the circle of life, and also it has no opening. We eat things that have no openings. Why? Because the person who is in mourning has no opening, they have no mouth. So there's no mouth to it, it's closed, so it represents the circle of life. They're going through mourning now, they're mourning, but also that's the way the circular foods are eaten, but also, since it has no opening, an egg, it's shalem, so too, the person who is in mourning has no mouth, they're so upset they have nothing to say. So an egg represents Avelut, mourning. Why are we eating an egg? Why are we having mourning at the Pesach Seder? Why are we mourning at the Pesach Seder?
About our forefathers who died.
So, first of all, there's a lot of bad things that happen to the Jewish people in Israel. Right? Not all of them left. There's a lot of suffering. So there's an element, a small element of mourning that is introduced into the Pesach Seder, which really in the end is a celebration. We kind of throw it in. For us, sadness and celebration, as we're seeing today and tomorrow, by the way, are not mutually exclusive. They can put one next to each other. Even Eretz today. Today is Yom HaZikaron, right? Everyone's crying, and tomorrow it's like a big party. Yom HaTzmut. It's amazing. It's like the same thing. It's no coincidence. Right? We go for, yeah, spread it out a bit. Give me a couple of weeks to recover. No. Right? We go from one to the other. Right? Hazor and Bedima, Barini Yuksuru, and that can happen Keheref Ayin in the blink of an eye. Okay? So we see it here as well. We go from the egg and poof, we're celebrating and we're drinking again and rejoicing at the same time. We don't take a week off to kind of get over it. Yeah?
I was going to ask, what was the first thing you said about the egg? That it's
The egg represents there was another korban that was brought on Pesach called the korban chagiga. Since we can't bring it, this egg represents the korban chagiga. You'll see that written in your Haggadah, and now you know what it's talking about. Okay? Yeah?
Did we erase anything from the board yet?
No.
Okay.
Now, then we have the meal itself. Now, there is a custom. Actually, maybe more than maybe halacha. We don't eat roasted meat at the Pesach Seder. We don't eat roasted meat. This is a very strong custom. Why do we not make roasted meat as part of the Pesach Seder? Because it's too close to the Korban Pesach that you're not allowed to eat. That you're not allowed to eat. And therefore, my friends, we do not eat roasted meat. Now, you may realize, things like 1 second, but I've had roasted meat. And one of the exceptions to this is if you add a lot of oil to it or rotef sauce to it and really mix it up, then it becomes more permissible and it becomes okay. Meaning the original Korban Pesach was just a lamb that was put on the thing, nothing was broken, it was shalem, so you could see it, so the Mitzrayim, the Egyptians could see we were eating their God, right? They should see it, so it was shalem. Once you start to add other stuff like a rotef or a sauce to it, then it becomes fermented.
Even if Shulchan Aruch we can eat.
I'm talking about Shulchan Aruch.
Ah.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. On the Pesach Seder, during the meal, you should not have just stum roasted meat. It's a tradition that goes back, and we are makpid not to do that today. Some people are very much, some people don't have any meat at all, I believe, but you can just have to add some other sauces to it. Okay, so we did the korech, we did the egg. Okay, fine. Then we have the tzafun, the last thing you eat, and everybody should get a piece of the tzafun because everyone is going to be part of the ultimate geula. Everyone should take a small piece of the original afikomen, you can break it up, and then add to it, because that's going to be very small, so they have a kazayit at least, and take from regular matzah in order to eat from that. Then we step 13 is...
You have to eat one piece of
that small piece is not enough. That small piece you get from the original is not enough. You should add to it so that you have at least a kazayit. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Then, and you should leave that as well. Then we say baracha, birchat hamazon. We sing Hallel, which continues. And you have 2 more cups of wine. You shall be imbibing, drinking. And then you get to Nirtzah. Nirtzah is the conclusion of the Seder. That's, sorry, next page, 87.
Oh, after brach with 2 cups in a row?
You're going to say Birchat Hamazon, and from Birchat Hamazon to the end of the Pesach Seder, you're going to have 2 more cups. You end up with 4 cups of wine by the end. Each one of them should be full to the top and drunk while leaning.
So one's like right when you finish Birchat Hamazon, and the other one was at the conclusion of Nirtzah?
Correct. Nirtzah is the end conclusion, and people stay up and they sing songs. These songs at the end, we could talk just about them for a long time. They're not just nice songs we sing together, they have strong significance for the history of the Jewish people, and there's a lot going on there. So you should try to sing some songs. They should be sung joyously and happily together. Okay, let's talk about the Seder plate, the Ka'ara. Yeah.
At which point do you pour the kosher
that is, I think before Birchat Hamazon. I think before Birchat Hamazon. I believe so. Yeah. Together with the third cup. Okay, the Seder plate, the kara. There's a tradition to have a Seder plate on your table, and on it to have various. Now, if you look in many of the Haggadot, you'll see there's different traditions as to the order you put things on, where you put on the Seder plate. There's many such traditions. Okay, there's different customs, how many things, how you do it, where it's put. There's a lot of Kabbalah on this, many different customs. Let's see what it is. The Seder plate itself contains the symbols of the Seder. Let's go through them. First, you have the Ka'ara. You have the Zeroah. Now, the Zeroah should be a roasted bone,
Can't have roasted.
you're not going to eat it. You're not going to point at it, but you're going to stick it on the Seder plate.
We're not supposed to eat it?
Nope.
Korban.
Nope. You can't even point at it. When you say Pesach, Matomaro, you don't point at it. Because then you'd be saying this is the Korban Pesach. And there is no Korban Pesach because there's no Beit HaMikdash.
So we sin every year? It's this every year? I don't know.
You should not eat the Zeroah bone. And by the way, many people put a flegel on the plate.
What's that?
A chicken bone. A chicken wing. This is not sufficient. That is a kanaf. It's a wing. This is a Zeroah, a bone. Therefore, a chicken wing, although I saw it many times, should not be put on the Seder plate for this memory. Okay? It's just there to commemorate it, but you put it on the Seder plate, you don't eat it, you don't point at it, you don't touch it, you just stick it there.
So what bone do you put?
A shank bone, a leg that is roasted.
What,
Yeah.
the leg you put, not the zoa?
What?
The leg or the zoa?
The Zeroah.
Zoa, that's...
A bone.
So what's not sufficient? What's a
chicken.
Chicken wing. Chicken wing is not okay.
What part is the shape?
People put a wing down, but that's a kanaf. It has to be Zeroah. As opposed to an actual etzem, a bone from the body. Or maybe the chicken, but ideally like a shank, a piece of animal, a piece of bone from the animal.
What part of the body is the shape?
I think the leg, isn't it? Shank bone.
But zoa, that's the hand.
Zeroah is the hand. Well, we call it the Zeroah, yeah. Yeah, but there is no hand
So
on,
we're not allowed to
on
eat
an
it, we
animal.
just throw it
It's
all
all
out?
four legs.
It's a shape.
Yeah.
So not chicken,
It's
but...
a bone. You try it. It's a bone.
Eat the meat, what does that mean?
Yeah, just a bone. It's just a little bit. It's a bone.
Just a
There's-
bone.
okay,
After
It's
you
a
ate the
bone,
meat, there's a
bone.
Okay.
Etzem.
But what, you're telling me every year you just look at it?
Yep. Not even look at it. You just stick on the Seder plate.
Okay.
That's it.
But we
So
eat
not
it.
chicken?
Don't eat it.
We pointed it too.
Don't point at it.
Okay.
Sarah, you said it? You got it?
I'm gonna run my Pesach Seder.
Marvelous. Yes.
So not a chicken, but a lamb?
Somewhere we use a chicken bone. I'm just saying, definitely not a chicken wing, because that's a wing and not a bone. But like a bone, we'll go to the butcher and they'll buy a piece of bone.
From a lamb?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter, like the
Oh, I
animal
see that.
matter?
You got
No, it could be chicken.
No.
Yeah.
Somewhere we use a chicken bone.
It
I
says in
guess.
the book chicken.
Chicken
Okay,
bone is okay, but
bone.
not a wing. Just a bone should we put down there. Okay? And obviously it's to represent Zeroah, it refers to Hashem's hand that took us out of Mitzrayim. Then we have the Beitzah, we said already, it's called Mechagiga. Okay, that as well. Maror and Chazeret, the bitter herbs. Haroset, nuts, apples, wine, and cinnamon. We put there as well. The Karapas, which is different to the Haroset, we put there as well, just a significant small amount of it on the Seder plate. And the matzah. 3, and this is important, 3 shalem matzot. 3 whole, complete matzot. That means they cannot be broken. Just like you cannot make hamotzi on Shabbat or Yom Tov and a lechem that is not shalem, that means it's chaser, it's lacking a piece. It should be complete. So if you see there's a significant piece or any amount chucked out of the thing itself, cut out of the matzah, that should not be used on your Pesach Seder
Does
plate.
it have to be like the circular shmura matzahs? Or
It
is
does not
like,
need to
like
be.
from the box?
It could be from the box. There is, ideally, you should try to use shmura matzah, at least for the Pesach Seder. You should use shmura matzah. But many of the German Jews only use machine. Any German Jews here? Any Ashkenazi specifically German? Yeah, they use machine made specifically all Pesach. Yeah. And why do they do that? Because they think the machines make it so well that like when people make it, they make mistakes, a little bit of dope, their fingernails, whatever. They think that's good, it's clean. They make a bracha when the machine starts, and they use machine-made matzot all of Pesach. That's the Yekis. The Germans do that. The rest of us should probably use handmade matzah, at least for the Pesach Seder, and shmura matzah for sure.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't- What's the significance behind like pointing them to the matzah and saying matzah is the?
So, because the Torah says, "B'galal zeh," the word "zeh" is used. We point at it and say, "This is the merit. This is the merit of the Jewish people getting out of Egypt. Their assignment to go to Har Sinai." So we point. Wherever the word "zeh" appears in the Torah, somebody is pointing at something. So we do the same thing. We point. We just don't point. We're going to say that by the Korban Pesach, but we don't point at it because you can't say there's a Korban Pesach because there is no Beit Hamikdash. Are we good? Sisters, are we done?
When was the last
Yes.
time we don't point at it?
We don't point at when we say Pesach, Matzah, or Maror. We don't point at the Pesach, we don't point at the Zeroah on the Seder plate. Because then we'll be saying that's Korban Pesach. And you cannot have a Korban Pesach without a Beit HaMikdash. Or actually in the vicinity of Yerushalayim, I should say, is probably more accurate.
What about the Chagiga? You can't have a korban chagiga.
Yeah, that's just an egg. It's not just an egg represents it. It's not the thing itself. Okay, that's why you can't eat a piece of meat to represent the Chagiga either. Okay, so that is your Pesach plate.